This podcast was produced by OAR FM Dunedin with support from New Zealand On Air.
Money, money, money. Investing. Should we be investing? What, where and when? We have got all the answers here, and I'm sorry for the little bit of extra information that you got there at the start. Welcome to the OI podcast, the Otago Institute podcast, conversations with experts from the worlds of arts, sciences and Mātauranga Māori, brought to you by the Otago Institute, the Otago branch of the Royal Society for Arts and Sciences. Kia ora, no mai, haere mai. For those of you new to the OI podcast, welcome. And I'm Dr. Barb, a quantitative ecologist with a background in modelling, climate change, biodiversity, conservation prioritisation and SciComm, and a PhD in botany from Otago Whakaihu Waka, the University of Otago.
And kia ora, I'm back. It's Trudy here, thanks to the Neurology Department for my snazzy new haircut and their care. So less said about that, the better, other than the fact that, if you bang your head and you don't think you know it, go talk to your doctor. But anyway, I'm a generalist from the Certificates of a Maths from Maths in Otago University and SIPS, who are they? The Chartered Institute of Procurement and Supply based in London. And my interests are in economics, sociology, international studies and business history, German language, culture and procurement.
Wow, she's been thinking about that while she's been
right
away. Today's show, episode 136, we're talking about money. Money. We're talking about the cost of living, investing, student loans, debt, investing. I'm going to say that twice because it's apparently really important. kiwiSaver and general financial well-being. So we've got the basics here. We've got Fraser Richardson and Belinda Symons. Symons. Oh my gosh. I did that like 6 times before and then I got myself completely confused. Sorry, Belinda Symons from Highgate Partners. And welcome.
Hello.
Thank you, Barb. Glad to be here.
So, Fraser, you've got a BA in economics from the University of Otago and an LLB also from Otago. So that's law and economics. That's a good combination.
That's right. That was the thing to do.
I imagine that's quite a common combination there. And Belinda, you've got a BCom in accounting from the University of Otago.
Yeah.
And you both have what's called a New Zealand Certificate in Financial Services. Now, that's like is that an exam that you take so you can give financial advice, or what is it?
Yeah, it's a course of study that anyone who wants to practice as a financial advisor has to do here in New Zealand. So it's mainly assignments, unfortunately. I love exams.
Oh, right, you're an exam person, but this was all assignments.
Unfortunately, there weren't many exams in that course. So.
Right.
We won't ask you, Mark, then.
Are you an exam person as well, Belinda?
I do like exams.
Wow. It's funny, isn't it? Some people are exam people and some people are assignment people.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Trudy, you have some sort of a degree in economics, am I right?
Yeah. Did economics and sociology is a double major from Massey. Yeah.
So I'm just going to sit over in the corner here as the plant person.
Yeah, the plant in the corner.
Anyway, so we've just got a quick disclaimer here. So we are talking about money, but we're talking in finances and investment strategies and all sorts of things like that. But we're talking in general. So we're talking about general terms and sort of general what do things mean. So nothing is going to be based on anyone's specific financial or personal situation. So the point of this episode is more sort of a general introduction into maybe some things that it's good to think about, or just a little bit more of that kind of 101 basic, what do they call it on those YouTube things? Money stuff for dummies.
Oh, yeah. Financial advice for dummies.
For dummies.
Yeah.
Financial advice for dummies. Anyway, but it's not really. I always think it's a little bit condescending because...
Yeah, and I think that whole For Dummies series is slightly condescending.
Yeah. Anyway, so let's not play into that. Anyway, the first thing is, what does a financial advisor do? Who benefits from using it? Like, is it something that just like rich people have? Because as growing up, I would never have dreamed of having a financial advisor. It seems literally something that someone with, billions of dollars, millions of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars maybe, but someone with a lot of money needs a financial advisor, because if you're just kind of scraping through, then do you need a financial advisor? So I guess the first thing is, who benefits from having a financial advisor, and what actually does a financial advisor do?
Okay, Barb. Well, great question. A financial advisor, think of it as a money GP.
A money GP.
Yes. So, of course, I'd preface that by saying, well, actually, if you're going to see your GP, generally it's because you're sick.
Right.
We don't always see people who are sick from a financial perspective.
Right.
And but we can.
So it's like a wellness check with your GP. I think there should be something called a wellness check.
That's great.
Once a year, everyone goes to their GP and they get like a whole lot of blood tests, and you know how you have various screening things that you do at certain ages. But I just think we should have that all the way through and just do and then you'd catch things and you go, oh no, I don't know, whatever.
That's right.
Anyway, just general thing. But anyway, for finances, there's already that, and it's called a financial advisor.
That's right. Yeah. So of course, a lot of different situations or people, they'll walk into our door and through our door and come and see us, and we can help most people, not every single person. You don't have to be a millionaire to come and see us.
Right.
Absolutely not. A lot of our clients are people who are what you call, typical Kiwis. They've got a lot of debt, often in the form of a mortgage or a student loan. But on the other side, they might have, say, a kiwiSaver account, or they may have inherited some money. They may have come into money in another way, possibly by selling a small business. And what we do is to help them put together a financial plan to help them to achieve their financial goals. Okay, so
it could be someone who's really in a little bit of a pickle and they're not sure how to get out of it, or how's the best way forward. Yeah. Or someone who's, on the flip side, just suddenly got some small nest egg of money from somewhere and they don't want to fritter it away. They want to know what's the best thing to do with it to make the most of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or just, what about someone who's just kind of, I don't know, they just got their first job maybe?
Yeah, we were talking to someone yesterday, weren't we, Belinda, about who's in that situation early in their career. They've got quite a large student loan. They have a small kiwiSaver account. They've joined a superannuation scheme that they're entitled to join through their employer. And we're helping them to put together a long-term financial plan that will get them to where they want to be. And that includes ticking off things like buying a first home, and then potentially paying off the debt of course, that's part of the plan, paying off the mortgage, and then eventually looking to put some money aside for retirement. So we're putting together a plan, and in that case, they're in their probably the first 5 years of working. And,
right. So potentially you could be quite young and still be going to a financial advisor.
Yeah, we've got university students who are coming to see us.
Oh, right. So is that good? Is that worth it?
Oh, I think absolutely.
Should we be encouraging all university students to just go and see a financial advisor?
If you've got a part-time job and you've got a kiwiSaver, or you want some information about kiwiSaver, coming to see us is a great idea.
Right. And I guess some people have really large student loans as well.
Yeah, they do.
So do you give advice on whether? I mean, I do wonder sometimes. Like when I started, which was a long time ago now, it was when they first started with loans, student loans, and we were paying interest on them as we were accruing them.
Yeah.
And it was quite steep at some points, and it changed every year. And I tried very hard to keep my student loan very low. But I know other people who were studying at the same time as me, they just took out the most money they could have, because you could have fees and living expenses.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I wonder if you've got some advice around student loans. Sorry, I had a whole heap of in-order questions here. Now I've gone completely off.
Yeah, well, I mean, absolutely, large student loans are a reality. When I went through university, I was lucky enough to be in that generation where student loans were just being introduced towards the end of my degrees. And I think my student loan at its highest was about $4,000.
Wow.
Now, students today...
I know some that had 60,000, 100 and something thousand back in my day. What about you, Trudy? You must have been before student loans, were you?
No, because I didn't start until much later. But I always used to, and because I was studying part-time, I just used to borrow what I needed from course and then paid it off because I was working.
Right.
So I'd end up at the end of the year with nothing.
Yeah.
But then it was worse because when we first started, a long time ago, you had 3% savings accounts and really short, like cheap loans, so you didn't need financial advisors because the state or the community or whatever society had organised it for you. So now I kind of get stressed. Well, what do you mean I've got to look after my money? That wasn't the social contract I signed up for. I haven't got time to do that. I've got to go to the dentist, I've got to go to the doctor, I've got to get this, why, that. Now you want me to get a financial wellness plan? Give me a break.
Well, I don't know. It's
just lose my money, government.
I mean, it does sort of seem like there's just more and more things that you have to think about. And I think, like, some of the student loans, like, they're just terrifying numbers. Like, they're just so high. I think, how are people...
And there was a period, and they changed it. People were taking out the highest student loan, all the allowances they can get, and then their parents were investing in it, so they were actually making interest off. So there was enough. So, but then they changed something in the regulations, and off the top of my head, I can't remember what it was, because there was a while where it became quite a fund for suppliers, or people taking out and using their student loan to put their deposit on their first house, you know, that kind of thing. I think my brother might have done that. Apologies, Philip. But yeah, so that they changed how you could access what you could use the funds for.
That's right, Trudy. I mean, there are more restrictions on what you can have funded out of student loan, and you do have to provide proof of the costs that you have, whether it's student fees, accommodation costs, usually a combination of those two.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, that free lunch has gone by the by.
And I guess also what people, like, it's different for different people how much student loan you can get, right? It's not the same for everyone because everyone's doing different degrees, everyone's got different personal and financial situations there. Yes. I mean, generally, is it a good scheme?
Well, if a student loan can be treated as, in some ways, a strategic liability.
Or an investment in your future.
Yes. You know, despite the greater restrictions there are on what you can fund out of your student loan, because it's an interest-free loan.
Right. Until you get to the end.
Not just until you get to the end. If you remain living and working in New Zealand, you don't incur interest on that loan.
Right.
And, of course, the real value, what we say the inflation, after taking into account of inflation, the real value of that loan reduces over time.
Right.
If you're working after studying and your income is over the threshold for student loan repayments.
Which is quite low, is it? Is it like 30,000 or something?
I think it's a bit lower than that.
Right.
I think it's around about 24,000.
Right, so you actually don't have to be earning much, I guess. I don't know, whatever the actual number is, it's not really a lot of money.
It's not a great deal. Yeah, absolutely. You don't have to be earning all that much to actually to be making repayments on that loan.
And the repayments kind of go up the more you're earning, don't they?
Yes,
like
absolutely. Yeah,
like ratcheted up if you go straight out of university.
I think it's 10% over that threshold. Yeah, 10% of whatever you earn over that threshold. So they are a reality for a lot of people. We normally suggest that if you are intending to remain in New Zealand and you're working here, then just pay it off as per the obligation. In other words, anything you earn over that threshold, you make payments on that amount. And it's a different story though if you are planning to travel overseas and remain there for over 6 months, because then you start incurring interest on the loan.
And then you can get penalties as well, can't you?
Yeah, if you don't make
because there's been those big stories about people who've suddenly got this massive amount, and people sort of go, they're a doctor, they can pay that off. But and I know there was kind of quite a bit of backlash against the people, but I actually felt quite on the side of the people because there can be no kind of communication back for it. It's really up to the person who's gone away to keep checking, and it's really hard to get actual information sometimes out of IRD. I know when I went away, I thought I had paid off the last of my student loan, and then I was doing a postdoc in the UK, and it turned out there was like this tiny little bit that got put on after the final thing, but then no one said anything about it.
Yeah.
And then I came back and it was like 5, like it was way, way more than what it was, because the whole time I'd been away, it had been accruing penalties and interest, and then interest on the penalties. And I mean, it wasn't hundreds of thousands of dollars. It wasn't even tens of thousands of what it was. But the point is that it was way more than what I'd borrowed, and it felt really wrong that nobody had kind of said, hey, because I tried to pay it all off.
Do the right thing.
Yeah, and I thought there was just this little bit that kind of had got there, and I think...
Yeah, and I think, not that I'm trying to age you unnecessarily, Barb, but I think in those days, most of the communication from IRD was by letter.
Right.
I remember receiving letters, and no emails at that time,
yes.
About my student loan. And, they were going to my parents' address,
yes.
and so I'd have a pile each time I visited home.
Yes.
Which in some cases wasn't all that often.
Yes, that is exactly what happened.
And I think the agencies work a lot closely or better now. So like when you do your exit card or something, I'm sure there's something you've got to put in there. You know, there is information about your student loan. Have you paid that?
Because I hadn't checked up on it, because I was completely convinced that I had finished it and tidied it all up and it was all gone. Anyway, enough about my sordid money background. So in general, it's actually not that bad a scheme for people, because obviously then like I also like I was working the whole way through my undergraduate, because I didn't want this huge amount of money hanging over me. But then I did feel quite resentful to people who had rich parents, and so they didn't need to work because they just had so much more time to do the work or play around or do whatever.
Yeah, and so some people are fortunate enough to have that.
But so the loan should kind of help out with that.
Bank of Mum and Dad. And,
Bank of Mum and Dad.
Yeah. But loans, they're not a bad thing in themselves. Of course, they're a fact of life when you, for most people when they buy a house.
Does having a student loan, does it affect your ability to get another loan or to get a mortgage?
Yes, it does. It does limit the amount that you can borrow. So banks will take that into account when you apply for a mortgage, for instance.
Right.
So if you have a large student loan, they'll look at that and say, well, okay, that reduces the amount that we're willing to borrow.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. So there are like things to think about.
Absolutely.
When getting a student loan, and maybe is that a good time to go and talk to a financial advisor?
Yeah, well, I think there's no bad time to talk to a financial advisor, but the earlier the better. Right. Even if all we do is to have an initial chat about, well, these are the things you should be doing.
Right.
For instance, joining kiwiSaver if you're eligible, whether or not you should pay off your student loan, and whether there are any other, say, investment opportunities that you should be potentially looking at, whether it's setting up a small investment account and making modest contributions to the account.
So when would you not want to pay off your student loan? Just being the devil's advocate here.
Well, I think if you remain living in New Zealand,
right,
and you're making the scheduled payments as required under the regulations, then I would say just keep on doing that rather
not
than paying
doing
it off
any
in a lump
more.
sum.
Oh yeah.
Of course. The other side of it is that some people feel uncomfortable having a large debt. And, we've got clients, haven't we, Belinda, who decide that even if they don't have to pay it off straight away, that they'll...
they just want it out of their hair.
Whether it's through family help or another way, they just want to pay it off as soon as possible and have a clean slate.
Right.
As
yeah.
such.
Oh, yeah. No, now I get it. It's not about, if you can just meet the minimum requirements, then go for it. It's not. It's about whether you make that additional payments to clear it earlier.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
And I guess the same as about kiwiSaver. So when would you not want to put money? Oh, sorry.
What is kiwiSaver? Like, I know what it is, and I think it serves two purposes. So it'd be really interesting to hear.
Yeah.
Tell us about kiwiSaver, because some people think it's
I think it's just for retirement.
But then I also know it's about you can take your money out and put it in your first home or something like that. And so it kind of has a dual purpose in some ways. Is that right, or am I just making that up?
That's absolutely right, Trudy. So initially, I mean, kiwiSaver was introduced in 2007. It's a retirement savings scheme.
And is it nicknamed the Cullen Fund, or is that something else?
That's something slightly different.
Okay.
The Cullen
Well,
Fund is a lump of money that the government put aside.
So it's the government investing.
Yes, to meet future New Zealand super obligations.
Right.
Okay.
And from time to time, different governments, since Cullen was the Minister of Finance, have stopped contributions or they've restarted contributions.
Okay, yeah.
But that's something separate. So kiwiSaver is funded through mainly through member contributions. In other words, if
Which
you
is
join
you.
kiwiSaver,
Yeah.
Trudy, then you make your own contributions to kiwiSaver. Also through employer contributions if you are an employee. And also a government contribution, which over the years has actually been coming down.
How much is left now?
How much is left now?
$1,000 or something, yeah. What
So
do you get now?
$160. $60.
Oh, is that all it is?
It is. Make you yeah.
It's ridiculous. Like, I mean, for something that's like designed to encourage people
To save
to
money.
save. And I
Well,
guess
that's the purpose, isn't it? It's about
It's about
saving.
Saving,
Yeah.
Supplementing.
mainly for retirement. But as you
Yeah.
said, Trudy, you can also make a withdrawal from your kiwiSaver scheme if you buy your first home.
which I guess is there to kind of encourage people to save, to join kiwiSaver early, because a lot of people would otherwise go, I need to save for a deposit for a house, I'm not going to join kiwiSaver. But then they kind of put this little thing in to say, okay, but your first house you can actually draw some out. Am I?
So one of the recent changes has been that 16 and 17-year-olds can now get employer contributions.
Right.
Oh, cool.
Which seems like obvious, right? You would think that anyone who's employed somehow, regardless of what it is, should be able to get a contribution from,
Yes.
regardless of how old you are. Like if you've got a job after school, then
Yeah.
you're working, right?
Exactly.
It shouldn't depend on your age. It should depend on what you're doing.
Yeah. And as long as you're putting in enough money, then you'll also get the government contribution.
Right, and the government contribution depends on what government it is. So at the moment it's very, very low. But was it 1,500 at one stage, or am I just dreaming? It was definitely 1,000 at one stage, wasn't it?
1,042.86 cents.
All right.
Yeah.
I must have missed a decimal place there.
That's
yeah,
over the years it's been halved and then halved again.
Right.
And there used to be a kickstart as well.
Right.
So
Well, you got that's right. Where you got
$1,000.
to start when you first signed up, they put some money in it to say, okay, and that's really encouraging people to do it, right? So that's really saying the government's saying people need to invest for their retirement. The pension's not going to be enough. This is going to help you do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So that the incentives to join the scheme have gradually reduced over time.
Yeah.
On the plus side, just recently, and as of 1st of April, employer and employee contributions increased to a minimum. Employer-employee contributions increased to 3.5%. They
Right.
had been 3% since the start
So
of the
that's
scheme.
3% of what
Of your gross pay.
of your gross pay, not 3% of what you put in.
That's right.
3% of
Yeah.
your gross pay. So the more you earn, the more your employer puts into your kiwiSaver.
Yes, that's right.
So if you earn 100,000, they're putting in
3.5%.
Yeah,
Yeah,
3,500.
Less
Yeah.
a little bit of tax.
less a little bit of tax.
Yeah, there's this thing called, well, we won't go into tax too much, but
let's just ignore tax
the
for now.
employer contribution is taxed on the way
Right.
in to your kiwiSaver account.
Right.
Your own employee contributions, they are not taxed.
Right. So whatever you put into kiwiSaver then doesn't get taxed.
Well, you put in, but your employer's is. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but of course, yeah, your
So if I put all of my everything I earn into kiwiSaver, would I pay no tax?
no, because it comes out of your taxable income, or your taxed pay.
I think
So-
we should move away
Okay,
from
we said we were going to move away from tax. Let's move away from tax. Yeah.
Unfortunately, not. No, there's no such tax dodge.
Yeah.
I'm afraid, Barb.
And then you also wouldn't be able to get your money out until you're 65. Or
Yeah,
you
that's true. Yeah.
purchased
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
We
first
could
time.
come to an arrangement.
Yeah. That's,
But contributions are going to go up again in April 2028 to 4%.
Right.
And also the current government have indicated that they are looking to increase contributions to 6% for both employers and employees. So 6% for both. In other words, a total of 12%.
right.
So Yeah, what was the thinking behind that? Is they just don't think people are saving enough, or
That's really it.
But it's interesting though, because the same government has reduced the contributions, and now they're saying they're going to.
Yeah, but they want us to make the contribution, not them. Which is
No, but
us,
they're saying they're
so
going to put it up to 6%, but they've just reduced the amount down from half, like from 1,000 down to half, and then half, and then half again. Mm-hmm. And now they're saying they're going to make it up to 6%.
Yeah, but we and the employer pays, not the government.
Not the government.
Who's actually us as a collective, but I don't think they understand.
Oh,
that.
I see. So the 6% is your personal contribution.
Yeah.
And your employer's contribution.
And your employer's contribution also. So I got that confused in my brain.
Yeah.
Right, so they're basically just saying that. So that's good. Oh, right, okay, yeah.
So
but I mean, the other thing is that there's a lot of people who don't have kiwiSaver. Now that's...
Are there?
Yes, there are. I looked it up online on the Stats New Zealand, and there's a big group, like 18%, and don't quote me on the figures, but it's about 18% of people who are eligible in the lowest age group. So those 18 to 30-year-olds. There's actually like a lot of people out of that group who don't have them. Is it okay because they're young? Or would it be better if they had started a kiwiSaver? What's your advice?
Well, my advice is, if you're eligible, join.
Yeah, so it's just blanket. It's just money for free, basically.
You get if you're happy for your money to stay locked in until you either make your first time purchase withdrawal, or you turn 65.
Yeah, which can be a long time away if you're 20, right?
Yeah, then that's a good idea to join, because of course you get that $260 as long as you put in each year, as long as you put in 1,042.
Right.
Now, some people don't have that leeway in their budget to actually put that in. So particularly, we find especially with, say, self-employed people, they're really pulling out all the stops to actually fund their own business and pay for their basic living costs. In that situation, locking the money away until you're either 65 or if you've got, or make a first-time purchase may not make sense. But as a general rule, absolutely, I'd encourage people to join if they're, if they're 16 or above, actually. Because
my worry really is that we're hugely encouraging people to do this because it's a great idea, because you start investing early, you start saving early, you get contributions from the government, you get contributions from the employer. But then, basically, there's a whole group of people who are just starting out, probably, and they just don't have the money. And then those people are going to, they're already worse off, right? Because if they weren't worse off, they would have the money to do it. But now we're kind of saying, okay, but they're going to be worse off later down the line as well. So, there's kind of a big social block there, and I wonder if a better government, if everybody's listening out there, you people who are in charge of these such things, would be just to say, okay, anyone who's earning, I don't know, take home less than $40,000 a year, whatever the number is, a reasonably small amount, we're just going to subsidise your kiwiSaver. We're just going to say, okay, anyone who's less than that, we're going to just give you the $1,000 to start you off every year until you get over that.
There's been a lot of talk about whether kiwiSaver should be compulsory. It's not at the moment, but reading the tea leaves, I think.
I'm sort of not really saying it's compulsory. I don't know.
Oh no, it's not compulsory.
I'm not saying it should be compulsory either. I think compulsory only works if
you've got the money.
If you've got the money, And I think we're sort of saying, okay, this is something that people need. Because we're going crazy encouraging people, not we, but the government, all different governments, not just one government, but I think that's something that generally all governments have agreed on, is that people need to do some retirement saving of their own.
That's right, yeah. And, you've seen a lot in the media recently about New Zealand super, whether it's affordable. I think as a percentage of the overall government budget, it's certainly going up. I think it may be around mid-teens at the moment. And there's an aspect of intergenerational fairness there. We've got a growing older population who are receiving NZ super. Many people are actually working well beyond the age of 65, and they're receiving NZ super as well as...
That's very job dependent as well, isn't it? For
Yes.
instance,
It is.
presidents shouldn't be working beyond that age. Parliamentarians.
Well, they shouldn't be getting national super. And as someone who's double dipped for the last 4 months, but finishes today, I do really worry. I do really wonder, like.
I don't mind about the double dipping.
Oh, because
it's
and we're also going to get the what is it? The energy, the winter thing, and I think, good Lord, we're rolling in it. You know, like
I don't know.
But
the thing is,
it's an interesting discussion. Yeah, see what was universal superannuation supposed to achieve, and whether that is still relevant now. I don't know.
I mean, I think for me, anyway, let's go past that. But I think universal superannuation, what it does achieve is it means that people don't have to justify it. People don't have to apply for it. And I think as soon as you get paperwork involved, then you've got officers and you've got people employed there. And I think the cost of monitoring it and organising it and checking that people, what their money is, and then that all of that cost then becomes a limit to people who are less able to go and stand in offices and fill out forms and stuff. So I think you're still going to get rich people who would still get it. So you would still get a reasonable number of people who've got their money squirreled away in various places or on their house or whatever, and the people that you think probably shouldn't be having it. But I think you're going to get some people are going to get so stressed out and they're going to miss out on having it even though they probably should. And then it's got to, like, whatever the line is and the arbitrary limit has got to be adjusted all the time to keep pace with everything. So I think it's fine to have a universal superannuation. I think we should have it all the way through, basically, so that the first whatever amount of money that you earn, you don't pay tax on, basically. Right. And then if you don't earn $20,000, whatever the benefit is, I don't actually know what the annual per annum of the, maybe you guys know. No. Well, if you were earning a minimum wage, I think that's the amount that you shouldn't be taxed on, and then everything you earn over that can be taxed, and then ramp up the other end of it. So rich people pay more, and the richer you are, the more you pay on the more money that you earn. So the first chunk of money that everyone earns, that's yours.
Yeah, there are plenty of countries around the world that do have a tax-free threshold. You know, so in other words, if you're, as you say, earning say up to $20,000 per year, then that wouldn't be taxed in many countries around the world.
Because that would be a huge benefit to people who were the poorest and the least well off in society. So it would give them a step up, and it would really be of negligible notice to anybody who's really rich. Like if you're earning $500,000 a year, you don't really care if you get an extra $20,000 or not.
Yeah, and I mean, government, the budget has to be funded somewhere. So, of course, there's a lot of talk about how should we introduce other taxes to
ramp them up at the other end
to allow us to, for example, to introduce a tax-free allowance for personal income tax.
Anyway, we were supposed to not be talking about taxes. I'm going to talk about socially responsible. Have we finished talking about kiwiSaver? Basically, the answer is everybody who can should.
And it has two purposes, same for your first home, same for your retirement. When you take your money out for your first home, I would recommend that you start it again for your retirement. Is that correct?
Absolutely,
yes. Don't pay me under the counter.
Don't stop.
So don't stop. And I guess it's the earlier you start it, the more it accrues, right?
Yes.
Absolutely.
And because you're getting that extra bit from your employer or the government or whatever the rules are at the time, you're always getting a little bit more.
Yes.
That's right.
So just do as much as you can, basically.
Let compound interest.
What happens to your kiwiSaver if you die?
It goes to your estate.
It forms part of your estate.
It forms part of your estate. Like it doesn't just disappear.
Oh no,
no,
that wouldn't be fair.
I was going to say that wouldn't be fair, would it? Yeah,
no.
But it's not like the money gets taken back or the part that the employer or the government's paid in gets taken back. It just goes into your estate. Right?
No, that's right.
Oh, that would be a really attractive thing. Yeah, when you die, we're going to take it all back. Have a fun like that.
Right. Okay. So kiwiSaver, that's kind of a no-brainer, and then other investment options. New Zealand's well known for being like big into residential property. Mm-hmm. And I guess, even the buying the first house thing that's part of the kiwiSaver. Is that actually a good idea? What other things are there, like people talk about the stock market, bonds. I always think the stock market is a bit like horse racing. It's a bit of a gamble, but it's not actually stochastic because there's trainers and there's jockeys and there's riders and there's people who follow the races all the time, and they know heaps about the tracks and the horses and whether it's a fast track or a slow track or all those weird things if the jockey's put on a bit much weight lately. And they're obviously going to skew the odds, right? So, and I think the stock market's a bit like that. Am I wrong? Am I too nervous?
You're too nervous, Barb. The stock market,
is it all just luck?
As long as you have the type of investment approach that we recommend to our clients, and I'm not saying we've got any particular magic about it, but as compared to other financial advisors, but we do believe in a disciplined, diversified investment approach, and that will get you excellent financial results over the long term.
But you're kind of like a trainer, though, aren't you? Or a jockey adjacent in the horse racing scenario.
We don't have any inside information. And if we did, we wouldn't use it.
Right, because that's a bad thing because it's against the law because it's insider trading.
Because the market operates on information.
But you do kind of know you get information about which stocks, where they are and what they've done in the past and stuff.
If it's publicly available,
yeah,
we'd see that information.
Yeah,
and
so there is information about, it's not like you know nothing and you're just kind of throwing darts at the board.
But we don't come into work each day, do we, Belinda, and decide, okay, well, we're going to put all our clients into SpaceX or into Air New Zealand or whatever.
Right, so it's not that sort of investing.
Because
you can do that, can't you? You can just play the stock market.
Yeah.
Is that something that people should be doing? Is that a useful thing for investments, or is it more like playing lotto?
That's a bit like playing Russian, was it roulette, I think? Yeah, because you just don't know. I don't think the market's very volatile to information and rumours and all that kind of stuff.
Playing the stock market suggests to me speculation.
Yeah.
Right.
And we don't speculate with
so that's not what
money.
investments is.
No.
That's not what we do.
That's not what you do, right? So, yes. I mean, it's sort of, you see these movies where they've got hedge fund peoples and they're yelling and screaming and selling and buying. That's not what you guys do.
That's not our office.
No.
That's not what financial advisors do.
Maybe.
No, okay. So if you go to a financial advisor, then you're kind of given a whole lot of scenarios and things, and you ask things like, how old are you? What's your
risk profile? You talk about risk profile.
Absolutely.
What's a risk profile?
How
Go ahead.
how adverse or comfortable you are for the level of risk.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
See, I don't want to lose any of my money, so I've got to. But then I can remember that it's a high or a low risk profile. I don't want to risk it. I've worked too hard for it. But other people, they've got time to make it back, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
It depends on your age.
Yeah.
It depends on what your goals are.
Right.
If you're looking to buy a house in 4 years, you're not going to be 90% in stock and 10% in income assets. You want to make sure that money is there when you need it.
Okay.
So we would
when you
lower
say
your risk profile.
income assets, are they conservative?
They are. They're there to balance you out. You've got your
What are income assets?
like government bonds.
Right.
Right. So you're getting those interest payments.
So they have lower interest, but they're very stable. Is that right? Lower returns, but they're really stable.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's a trade-off between risk and return.
Right. And so in stocks, they can be very big or they can be very
That's the
low.
the
So
share
they
market.
just have bigger variability, basically.
Exactly.
But you're never, like with the bonds, you're never going to get massive amounts, but you're never going to lose massive amounts.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's income assets and stocks.
Yeah.
Right.
Kind
Okay.
of growth assets.
And so you kind of work out if you definitely need the money, like you can't afford to, because they sort of say with the stock market as well, like it kind of all evens out in the end.
That's why we take a long-term approach
Right.
to it.
So that kind of depends when you need this money that you're investing.
Exactly.
Like if you're only 20 and you don't need it for 45 years,
Exactly.
you can afford to be a bit more on the risk.
The risk side. Yeah.
Side.
You're going for growth.
Right. Yeah.
You've got a long-term horizon.
Right.
A lot of people will, well, of course, you get both people who take on too much risk and people who don't take on enough risk.
Right. So you can be too conservative.
You can be too conservative, and quite a few people who come to see us, they will be in, for instance, if they're in kiwiSaver, they may be in a default fund or in a conservative fund, but they may have no intention of using the money or have no ability to actually withdraw the money for,
Right.
say, another 15, 20, 25 years.
Is that what I was in?
I think we up to you.
We're not doing personal advice on the show.
We're not doing specific things here, but I'm getting a bit of side eye.
But
Yeah.
absolutely, I mean, if you have a longer investment horizon, as Belinda said, then it does make sense to have quite a bit of growth in your investment choice.
Yeah, it's interesting because when I was I did a postdoc in Australia, and they have a completely different system. Yeah. But as part of their thing, you have to go and see a financial advisor. Like, you just book a time, and when you start there on whatever your contract is, and they say, okay, well, you're getting these things from and it's basically a financial advisor. And he was amazing, the guy that I talked to, and he was actually a Kiwi working in Townsville. And thank you very much out there for you. Because, so what he did was he basically talked me through it and said, like, there's all these layers. You can have this much that's your employer contribution, and this much, and that has to match what you're doing. Mm-hmm. And he said, you're young, you're not here forever. If you go back to New Zealand, you'll earn less because New Zealand wages are lower. Yep. And he ramped it right up into the highest risk profile. Mm-hmm. And in the 18 months that I was there, I had more in my superannuation retirement fund than I did in the 4.5 years that I had working here at my next job in New Zealand. And part of that was the difference in the amount that like the cost of returning home. But part of it was also that I think I just had the profile all wrong because I just ticked whatever. I mean, it might be just that the rules are different in Australia as well, but I think I just ticked whatever the boxes were. Yeah. Whereas there they said, okay, who are you and what do you want? And I think, that's actually, I think that was worth a lot of money to me, that half-hour meeting with that financial advisor. Because once you've got it set up, you've got it set up.
Absolutely. And that's the benefit of getting personalised advice.
Yeah.
Some of the banks, they use a tier system. So when you hit a certain age, they're just going to take your risk profile down.
Oh, wow.
It doesn't matter if you've already bought a house or not. It doesn't matter what your where you're working, what your income is. It's just an automatic.
Yeah, that's the kind of life stages type approach, which
may or may not be the right thing by chance, right? But
absolutely,
but it's just a kind of blanket thing based on one variable.
Yeah. And generally it will take you down to too conservative risk profile before you need to.
Right.
For instance, it will take you down, you're about to retire. In that case, you need to go pretty much conservative. Now, most retirees who are blessed with good health, they'll live for another 25, 30 years beyond 65. So
craziness, eh?
Yeah, you do need to. I mean, we try to add value through the advice we give about the type of risk profile you should adopt. And it's going to take into account all of your circumstances.
Okay, we've moved on.
And I would just like to ask a question about what do you think enough is for retirement?
Oh, yeah, that's the question everyone asks, isn't it?
Drives everything about kiwiSaver, your risk profile, all that kind of stuff. But nobody ever defines what enough is, I don't think.
Okay.
And I suppose it
Great
depends
question.
on the person as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends on if you know exactly when you're going to die.
Yeah, yes,
True.
absolutely. That's one of the variables that,
Do you
none
do
of us
sort of do you do?
know the
I mean,
answer to.
life insurances, they do that very well, don't they? Like when you take out life insurance, they have actuary tables and they guess it. They estimate your time of death quite well based on your lifestyle and how fit you are and all sorts of things. Do you guys do that as part of the?
Yeah, well, we don't include in our client profile questionnaires, for example, whether or not you're a smoker.
Right,
But,
okay.
unlike life insurance.
Right, okay. So it's not quite like life insurance.
But we basically assume that unless there are good reasons to believe otherwise, then our clients are fairly, going to be in good health, and they're going to need to plan, let's say, to the age of around 90.
Right.
So coming back to your question, Trudy, about how much is enough, well, that's, how long do you have until you hit that age? And, of course, probably the bigger factor is what do you need each year to live on? or what do you want each year to live on.
Yeah, and I suppose that depends on what you want to do, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you've got a 5-star lifestyle where you're taking regular international holidays and cruises, and you need $200,000 a year to live on, then you're going to need a bigger lump sum than someone who's got a more modest lifestyle, and they can get by on, say, New Zealand Super plus a little more. There aren't too many people who make ends meet on New Zealand Super alone. Even if you have your own home, there are people out there who do. But yeah,
it's a bit lean. I've just redone our budget.
And and that's quite sobering, I think, as well, because that comes back to the kiwiSaver. Because if you don't, if all you have is the New Zealand Super, even now, and that's not taking into consideration what's going to happen in the next however many years and how it's going to affect coming up, then actually it's actually not enough to really live on, even if you have your own home, you were saying. So there's people out there who don't have their own home, and that's quite a sobering thing, because there are more and more people who are renting, and so obviously the biggest chunk of your superannuation is going to those kind of solid payments that you have to make. Your rent, your living costs, and there's
you may qualify for some
accommodation,
accommodation supplement from the if you're still paying rent, or you have other living accommodation costs, but. Basically, just to give people an idea of how much you receive in NZ Super each year, some of your listeners may not be aware of how much NZ Super gives you. So if you're a single person living alone, it's around about $28,000 in the hand each year.
Right.
If you're a couple, then between the two of you, you receive about just over $44,000 per year.
So less per person if you're a couple.
That's right.
Which I also don't think is fair.
I think it's. I think the working assumption is that you're sharing costs. And
but still, like.
Some costs are less, some costs are more.
Yeah, I don't know. I also think, I don't know. To me, you should get what you get is your superannuation should be what you get.
It is what you get.
I know, but it's not. It's dependent on you and if you happen to be living with someone.
But all the other benefits are like that.
Yeah, I don't think they should be.
No.
Anyway.
What else?
Okay, so we've gone right through from student loans and kiwiSaver. And I guess kiwiSaver is the first thing that people know about investments and things.
Oh, I was just going to say, it's kind of ironic that the people who don't have their own home when they're retiring are paying rent to people using that property to save for their retirement, because that's probably investment property.
Yeah,
I just kind of find that ironic. Like, surely cut out the middle person and provide accommodation some other way and retirement some other way.
That's very tricky. Yes. Okay, so the final thing that I wanted to talk about just briefly is estate planning. Wills, enduring powers of attorney, which there's the two, right? So there's the financial and then there's the health and well-being.
Yeah.
And I guess your main thing is looking at the financial powers of attorney.
Well, we recommend that to all of our clients that they, or anyone over 18, that they have a will. And it's surprising the number of people who don't have a will.
It is. And can I just say, like you're saying over 18, that's really young, right? Like we're not thinking that we're going to die. When we're 18. Like
it's the last thing on your mind.
It's the last thing on your mind,
18,
right?
19.
Yeah. So what is the benefit of having one when you're 18?
Well, you would want, if you were to die, then you would want your assets, modest though they may be, if you're 18, 19, 20, to be dealt with according to your wishes.
Do they not just automatically go to your next of kin?
Well, there are some rules that apply if you don't have a will.
Right.
Yeah. So,
but you shouldn't trust those default rules.
Well, you can. They will apply, but they won't necessarily reflect what you want.
Right.
And I think it's particularly important for people who say buy a house.
Right.
Whether that happens in your 20s or later, to have a will in place, and even for your kiwiSaver, we've just mentioned that kiwiSaver forms part of your estate.
So as soon as you've got kiwiSaver, you really should have a will as well.
Yeah, anything beyond a basic bank account, I think, it's worth having a will.
And power of attorney.
Yep.
Sort of goes hand in hand, doesn't it? You kind of do those three things.
So powers of attorney, enduring powers of attorney, those are documents that you sign to enable someone else, usually a family member or a close personal friend of yours, to deal with your affairs if you become incapacitated. For example, if you're involved in a car accident and you're in a coma in hospital, of course you're unable to deal with either your own property matters, and that includes, say, investments, finances, or your decisions around health treatment.
Right.
Yeah.
And do you lose money if you don't have a will? Does the government take a cut of your money, or does it just take longer for everything to get tidied up? Or
basically, if you've got family members, then they don't have to be immediate family members, but those are the people that your assets will go to. It's only really at the end of the road that if there's absolutely no one out there who you can pass your assets on to, that the government
takes
will
it.
take it.
And you hear a lot about trusts and family trusts and things like that. Are they useful things, or is that not what you do?
Yes, they can be. We don't set up trusts,
right.
But certainly a lot of our clients have a family trust.
Right.
Of course, back in the 1990s, they were all the rage. Just about everyone, or not just about everyone, but many people had trusts, and it's not to say that they're not something you should now set up. They do have various advantages, such as creditor protection if you are in business.
Right.
Also, they're good for estate planning purposes. So trusts can be pretty helpful in some situations. Often where you've got a blended family situation, then the two spouses may set up their own separate trusts.
That's true, yeah. Because if you've got like children from a previous relationship, but they're all grown up, but then you've had a second marriage, and then you've kind of got all your assets together joint, then you die, and does your partner or do your children, or how does that work? That can all be, I can imagine that being tricky.
It can get a wee bit messy unless you put the right
things in
structures
place.
in place, and often that's through family trust.
Right.
Or family trusts.
We are wrapping up now. We're in our wrapping up phase. So I'm just thinking, what lingering questions has Trudy got that I've not allowed you to ask? And have you got final kind of advice out there for the general listener?
So the 1990s reminds me that at that time people were unaware of the requirements, and I think the social security legislation that you can't, like, before your retirement age is a certain time period, you can't be seen to be hiding income to benefit from national super. And I think a few people got a bit grumpy about that because they obviously got bad advice when they set up their trusts. They didn't realise that there is a two-handed relationship, because it's been in the Act since about 1964. I think it was Section G, because I got to know a lot about it.
We'll defer to you on that, Trudy.
Yeah, it's probably changed since then, but I thought, it's quite interesting. People get a good idea in their head, but I think the value in having a really good financial advisor saying, yes, this is a benefit, but this might be these other fishhooks or things you need to be completely aware of.
But also it goes back to that kind of key point there of the sooner the better, right? Because the more you've got it kind of planned and organised, and the best time to start obviously is now, or 20 years ago.
Yeah.
But failing having already done it, the best time is now. How often does someone need to go and see a financial advisor? Like, you go and see them and you get everything sorted up, then can you just forget about it and just carry on with your life?
We like to see our clients at least once a year.
Right.
They're also free to give us a call or to send us an email or to come in if something has changed in their life. and that could mean a change in their financial plan or the way they've got their money invested.
And I guess it gives you a little bit of peace of mind as well, because you're not relying on what you know or don't know. Because, I don't know, people who haven't grown up thinking about money and investments and stocks and stuff, you've kind of got this lingering idea that there's a whole heap of stuff that I don't really know what I don't know, and there's a whole lot of stuff out there that maybe I should know and I don't know, and am I doing it right? And then big decisions, right? They're decisions about how you're going to live in retirement.
Absolutely.
Whether you're going to be able to have a house, big chunks of your life and how you're going to live that life kind of depend on what you do with these things. So
yeah, and we're also there to support, especially when things are a little bit volatile. We don't want people doing, suddenly changing their kiwiSaver down to a really conservative.
Because I guess that's one thing is when the market's really volatile, then people see their money disappearing on those little wiggly lines. They go, oh my gosh.
That's
COVID.
why I don't look. Look.
Yeah, during COVID, that was happening. Lots of people changed and went really conservative. So then they missed out when the market recovered.
Yeah. It's that long-term look again, isn't it?
It is. So people panic. And your case of not looking, it does work for a lot of people.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do. No. So just put it to the side.
Yeah, so I guess the panic, rather than doing something, the panic is like ring the financial advisor.
Give us a call.
Yeah. And then let them do the panicking for you.
In some ways, we're hopefully a trusted source of advice, and we can sometimes put the handbrake on what otherwise might be a rash decision.
And I guess a lot of people have bad memories of the stock market crash, and that's kind of still there lingering, particularly in New Zealand. Anyway, on that cherry note, thank you very much for coming in. It's been really, really useful and informative, and just reminding everybody out there that this advice, of course, is in general terms, and please do not take it as specific to anyone or any specific circumstance. And thank you very much. Matiwa.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bob. Thanks, Trudy.
You can support this podcast by becoming a member of the OI. Check out the Otago Institute for Arts and Sciences on Facebook or our website.
If you'd like to listen again to this episode or others from the series, look for the OI podcast on OAR FM's website, oar.org.nz.
Brought to you by the Otago Institute for Arts and Sciences, the Otago branch of the Royal Society of New Zealand.
This podcast was produced by OAR FM Dunedin with support from New Zealand On the Air.